Okay.
I did. Oh, okay, so.
Because, yeah, when I left that first year, I was.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. I think so. I'm double checking. Make sure.
Just heard clapping.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Hi, are you the presenter?
I am the presenter.
Hi, I'm Belle
Hi, Val.
from Ellis School in Pittsburgh.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome.
thank you.
Could be just you and I.
That's okay, I've got 9.
Intimate gathering.
That's right. We can,
Yeah,
okay,
is
we're
it
going to be
anywhere?
looking at the board, okay.
Yeah. And they've already turned on the video camera, so everything you say
We'll be held against
will be
you.
held against you and is admissible in a court of
I
law.
love it.
Yeah. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Do that too.
We go hot for a bathroom real fast.
I can tell you where the men's room is.
Yeah.
You gotta go down one floor. The women's room is around the corner here, and the men's room is directly below it, one floor down.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sure.
And that's extra trash.
We got out of our assembly a little late, so
Ah,
we're gonna be.
Okay, no problem. Hello.
How you doing?
Good. Welcome. So we'll start, we'll start maybe in 5 minutes. People are coming around.
I run a public purpose center, teach. How are you?
I'm a teacher and we're actually in the process of considering a program like Aspire.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm kind of heading up that
Yeah.
initiative.
So a lot of good role models around here.
Yeah, no, great.
That was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so inspired.
It's reminded me of, like, we have a TEDx program at school. Reminded me of that, like, but even more compressed. Where
Yeah. How do you get a TEDx program out of school?
you apply, and the application process is pretty rigorous. They bring you through a lot of different hoops. But then once you got the license, you just renew it every year. It's pretty easy.
Oh, okay, because we had a student who participated in TEDx with one of our administrators, and it never occurred to me that you could get a license.
Oh,
I
yeah.
gotta write that down.
Yeah.
It's a franchise, basically,
Yeah.
model.
But they hold you to high standards if your color of red you use is wrong or something, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You have to do everything right the first time. Once you do it the first time, you're fine.
Yeah. And you get a territory too, don't you? Like, somebody else could have one in your city as well, is that right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you have to open it up. Normally you open up to outside people to come in too.
Yeah, yeah.
The one I'm doing this year, we have 4 women speakers and then the 2 TED Talks we're showing women. I'm sure the TED Gender Equity Police are gonna come after me.
Yeah.
I thought I'm just gonna try this and see what happens.
Well, I'll wait a couple more minutes, and 2 people headed off to the restroom, and they come back to start. How's the conference been so far for you?
Great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. So, while we're waiting, where are you from?
I'm from Philadelphia, Penn Charter Quaker School in Philadelphia.
Okay. Great.
I'm from a school called Hackley, which is about 30 minutes north of New York City.
I'm from Ellis School, it's a pre-K through 12 girls' school in Pittsburgh.
Oh, good. Okay. And are they co-ed schools, all of them?
Mine's
Yeah.
girls.
Mine's
Girls'
girls.
school? Okay.
Go ahead.
Co-ed.
So I would take you from.
Okay. It's recording.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, so everything you say now has been recorded for posterity. So maybe while we're waiting for those last 2 people, University School, it's a Cleveland school, it's a boys' school, 125, we're actually celebrating our 125th anniversary. It's K through 12 school, and non-denominational and not boarding. So it's a single-sex boys' school, and actually this is the sister school, HB. We have 2 girls' schools, there's Hathaway Brown, and there's another one, Laurel, which is very close to here, both non-denominational girls' schools. There's actually only 1 boys' school like US and University School in Northeast Ohio. They've got quite a few other boys' schools, St. Ignatius, St. Edward's, which are related to the diocese, but we're non-denominational school. They asked me to talk about fundraising and our approach to it, my approach to it. So I founded this organization, Young Entrepreneur Institute, in 2006. I was a serial entrepreneur for 30 years. Sold my business in the late 90s, retired for a couple of years, went back and volunteered in junior achievement and some other financial literacy and other kind of programs. Went back, got my master's degree in education, and started teaching and founded the Young Entrepreneur Institute with the mission, basically believing that every child should understand and experience entrepreneurship. What I'll do is give you an overview of the organization, but what they asked me to do is talk about how we use it, how we raise money for it. So all the funding for what we do outside of university school is funded by foundations. None of it is funded by university school. And we raise anywhere from $400,000 to $500,000 a year to pay for the work we do. And could potentially be a model for, so we have a very robust program at university school, which I'll talk about. And, but then we also serve the public good, which is what we do. So I'm going to play you a short video and then provide a more in-depth overview of what we do. At Young Entrepreneur Institute, we believe that every child should have the opportunity to understand and experience entrepreneurship.
Northeast Ohio has one of the strongest entrepreneurship education ecosystems in the world. And Young Entrepreneur Institute is a really critical part of all of that. It has an impact on thousands of students and teachers every single year.
That impact is achieved through collaborating with teachers, educators, and entrepreneurs to teach best practices in entrepreneurial education to as many students as possible.
Well, I was actually exposed to entrepreneurship as an 8th grader, just a simple Thai business as an 8th grader. I think it's impacted the way that I'll live for the rest of my life. So I think the early exposure actually struck something that I think was always in me. This idea of independence and hard work to get things that you want in life.
Building the entrepreneurial mindset in students at a young age helps them envision their future and realize their dreams. And for some kids who are at risk, it may even help them stay in school.
It's rewarding for every high school student, every middle school student, and even younger than that, to start to adopt the entrepreneurial mindset because it will help you solve problems in any industry.
By learning the value of perseverance, hard work, managing adversity, overcoming failure, and problem solving, Young Entrepreneur Institute students are more prepared to succeed in whatever they choose to do in the future. So, brief overview of what we do. We believe that entrepreneurship teaches life skills. It's way beyond just whether or not you're going to become an entrepreneur or not. Certainly teaches a lot of financial literacy, skills and education, but things like perseverance or grit, self-confidence, ownership. We talk a lot about ownership. You know, that's one of the things that characterizes entrepreneurs versus people who work in a company. But the idea of teaching ownership, of having kids experience ownership so that they learn how to take ownership for themselves. You want kids to take ownership of their lives and take responsibility for themselves. So we believe that it really is important for every child to experience and understand entrepreneurship. So at university school, we have an extremely robust entrepreneurship program. More than half the student body is engaged in at least one of our activities. About 10% of the students in high school actually major in business at our school. We have something called the Anderson Scholar Program. Obviously, it's not like college where it's a true major, but they are involved in all of our activities, all of our classes. We start in our primary. We do a program called Lemonade Day. I'll talk a little bit more about that. That's a national program. Teaches entrepreneurship through a lemonade stand. We have middle school entrepreneur club. We're running it right now. 3/4 of the middle school is involved in that. We've got about 84 kids involved in that. All kinds of things at the high school, incredibly rich. From everything I can tell, and I've spoken all over the world and talked to people all over the world. From a private school standpoint, we have the most robust entrepreneurship program of any high school in the world. I've got multiple classes, multiple competitions, lots of ways for kids to get engaged with entrepreneurship. Foundationally though, it's very much about experience. We think the best way to learn about entrepreneurship is through experiences, so many of the things we do is experiential. From a philosophical operational standpoint, to talk a little bit about fundraising and what we do, I view US as a wonderful platform upon which to do all this public activity. So yes, we have a hugely robust program at University School, but I would say 80% of the activities of my team are outside University School's walls and involve kids. We impact typically on a typical year about 4,000 to 5,000 kids and several hundred schools in Northeast Ohio every year. So University School is just a great way to pilot ideas and pilot programs, give us experience with testing curriculum, testing competitions, just building experience, and also just as a wonderful facility, just like Hathaway Brown has this wonderful facility. University School also has wonderful auditoriums and conference rooms and classroom spaces that we bring schools in all the time, and I'll talk about some of the things that we do. A big part of our philosophy, though, is collaboration and leverage. So we are big on collaborating with organizations all over Northeast Ohio, including the school's fundamental competitors. So just probably like your schools, we have people who are competitors. So there's a couple of boys' schools, St. Edward's and St. Ed's and St. Ignatius, that are essentially direct competitors. There's another one called Hawken here, which is a co-ed. And certainly we've got some great public schools that are an alternative for the parents. We collaborate with everybody. So we actually, my organization, Young Entrepreneur Institute, helps St. Ignatius, St. Ed's. We work with Hawken, we work with the public schools. We work with everybody and anybody. We don't differentiate in any way, shape, or form, any school, and we work with homeschoolers, we work with the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, anybody and everybody. And with that in mind, the foundations and funders are thrilled then to support us because we work with everybody. And in particular, we work with a lot of disadvantaged and low-income populations around Northeast Ohio. So by saying, no, we welcome anybody and everybody, we'll help any school with their program. So to give you an actual example, many of our kids that go to university school live in what's called the Chagrin Valley area of our city. It's the wealthiest part of our city, of our region. Chagrin Falls High School, I got a call 2 years ago from the superintendent of the Chagrin Falls School District, wanted to start an entrepreneurship program at their school. Obviously it's a public school, it's free, it is a direct competitor to University School. But worked with him, helped him kind of define the program, write a job description for somebody to hire. They hired a teacher, I worked with that teacher to develop a program and curriculum, and I continue to mentor that teacher. So when I talk about open source, that was kind of the title of kind of using that phrase from the high-tech world. That's really the approach we take, totally open source. Anything we develop in university school, anything and everything, is available to everybody and at no charge. So the foundations that we work with pay for all of the work. So a significant part of my salary is paid, more than half of my salary is paid for by foundations. And a significant part of that is specifically to mentor and consult with schools and organizations that want to expand their entrepreneurship program. Also leverage. So what I mean by leverage is almost in all cases, we work with schools and organizations to teach the teachers. We, on a very limited basis, outside of university school, teach kids directly. For the most part, we don't do that. We don't have the capacity to do that. It's much more effective for us to work through organizations, make them effective, get them excited about teaching entrepreneurship, so that by working with one teacher, we can affect 20, 30, 40 kids. Right? So it's a collaborative leverage model that we use. Again, the reason foundations really like this is it makes their dollars go much further. Because just so you know, most foundations, one of the metrics they use is dollars per impact. They look at that. They will ask you to report how many kids, how many teachers did you impact, and they'll take the dollars they give you and divide it by the number of kids you impact and come up with a number. Our number is very big because, like I said, we leverage their dollars through the organizations to impact lots of kids. Give you another example of that. We worked, again, at no charge with the Boy Scouts in this region. There's an entrepreneurship badge. They were struggling with how to teach that badge and what's the most effective way to do that and how to get more kids to actually earn that badge. So we worked with them, and they work with all the Boy Scouts in Northeast Ohio. And that was at no charge to the Boy Scouts. So let me talk a little bit about some of the specific programs that are funded by these organizations. So I mentioned Lemonade Day. This is a program targeting elementary and middle school kids. Teaches entrepreneurship through the classic lemonade stand. So how many of you, I always do this quick survey when I speak, how many of you ever visited a lemonade stand? Okay. And how many of you wanted lemonade when you visited the lemonade stand? Yeah. Okay, so two things. First of all, my experience is in America, every adult has visited a lemonade stand. And the percentage who actually wanted lemonade is approaching 0. I've spoken, like I said, around the world. This is strictly an American phenomenon. Strictly an American phenomenon. You go to other countries, nobody's at lemonade stand. What are you talking about? It's definitely an American thing. There's no such thing as lemonade stands anywhere else. But universal in America. So this has a curriculum. It's a wonderful program in your cities. I encourage you to look into it. It is a national program. About 250,000 kids around the country participated in Lemonade Day. In Northeast Ohio, we've got about 2,000 kids this year who will do it. But again, this is an example of leverage and collaboration. So this, it's a little hard to see, but the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, CMSD, has 40,000 something students. Obviously, the vast majority low income on federal lunch and even federal breakfast. We've partnered with another organization in Cleveland, the Western Reserve Historical Society, basically our local history museum, to put together a 4-year sequence, 4th through 7th grade, where first the Western Reserve Historical Society has something called Hale Farm, which is a working farm. I don't know if you have anything like that, but it basically models what the original settlers of our region did. So it's got candle makers and farmers and so on. The reality is those people were entrepreneurs. And it's typically not taught that way to kids, that the original settlers in America were entrepreneurs, but the Historical Society has taken that approach. So kids go out to Hale Farm, they learn about the early entrepreneurs who settled our area. In the later years, they go to our history center, which is basically our history museum, which also has been reconfigured to talk about the entrepreneurs who built Northeast Ohio. So we've got some famous people. So John D. Rockefeller got his start in Cleveland, Ohio, for many years. In the second half of the 19th century, Cleveland was basically the Silicon Valley of America. There were more patents issued out of Cleveland in that period than in any other part of the country. then we step in 7th grade and provide an experiential component based on the Lemonade Day curriculum. It's been integrated into at this point, into the social studies curriculum. It's now going to be integrated into the math and other curriculums. And the ultimate goal is that every student in the CMSD school district will go through this sequence, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, with the capstone in 7th grade being this experiential piece. What's really cool is in the science and engineering, they have a couple mobile fab labs. You guys are familiar with the whole maker movement fab lab thing. They've tied that into it so that this lemonade stand itself was designed and built by kids. And so they've incorporated that whole thing. So it's a fully integrated, we're taking a fully integrated approach. Again, we train the trainers, so we train the teachers. We do the professional development for the teachers. It's a highly leveraged model. We're reaching hundreds, thousands of kids through that program. Again, we're very experiential, so we've collaborated with a number of local farmers markets to do something called the Young Entrepreneur Market. So one of the challenges that kids have in their, if they want to start a business, is getting traffic to their business. You know, they make brownies, they make lemonade, but it is very disappointing to do all that work and then have no customers. We want to make entrepreneurship fun. So we've made arrangements with farmers markets and also with some buildings in our downtown area, the lobbies of some of our office buildings downtown, where we've made all the arrangements for the kids. We've got a tent for them, we've got tables, we've contracted with the whole thing, get it all set up. We also have college business students from the local colleges who come in and mentor the kids while they're selling. So all the kid has to do, and we do this through the school, so we don't work directly with the kids. Again, it's a leverage model. So if the teacher has kids who want to, who have a business, they can easily sign up and sell their products through the Young Entrepreneur Markets that we've set up for the kids. It's a great way for them to have that experience. We've got, later this month, we've got a high school, actually out in Painesville, bringing a group of 13 kids to the lobby of an office building during lunch. And they're going to set up their tables and they'll be selling their crafts and brownies and whatever. Okay. And it really does spark interest in business, and it's just a great experience for the kids. So this young man actually is a US student, William Willoughby. He last year sold about $4,000 to $5,000 worth of granola. Went to the markets over and over and over again. Really, just a great experience for him. Let's see, yeah, these girls sell their scarves, knit scarves. They've been doing that on a regular basis. So what we try to do, again, is collaborate. So we're collaborating with the farmers markets. It's all funded by the foundations, and then we administer the program. This is one of our newer, most exciting things we're doing. These are video elevator pitch competitions. One of the things we're trying to do is lower the barriers to entry for students to have these experiences. So this is great, but it takes a lot of work for the kids, even to get that far. I mean, we've done a lot of work to get everything set up for them, but it's a lot of work. They got to make the product, they've got to get up Saturday morning, or what, I mean, it's just a lot of work. This idea is make it really easy. They're all into their phones anyways. They can just use their iPhone, take a 30-second or 60-second video of them pitching some product idea, and enter the competition. Team Tech Tank, we ran this past fall. We had entries from 17 area high schools. The selection of we have 5 winners. The winners were chosen by public voting, and we also had some local business leaders. We had over 30,000 public votes in this competition. The prize packet, and the other thing is, the other purpose of it was to raise awareness of youth entrepreneurship in Northeast Ohio. So you can see Coca-Cola was a supporter, so 2-liter bottles of Coke products in grocery stores all over Northeast Ohio, a little tag, looked like that. This postcard, McDonald's supported it, so this postcard went in bags, to-go bags at the McDonald's all over Northeast Ohio. again, the idea is to raise awareness and get kids to enter the competition. This spring, we're doing something called Selling Bee. This is targeted now at younger kids. This is a 30-second commercial thing called the Selling Bee. And again, it's all about collaboration, partnering, and leveraging our resources. So to describe these three organizations, so St. Clair Superior is a CDC, a Community Development Corporation. These are government-funded agencies that focus on community development in low-income areas primarily. So we are, one of the things that they are focused, they had in the past had focused on adult community and economic development. They're beginning to realize that if they wait until the people in their communities are 20, 30, 40, whatever, it's more difficult, that they can have more impact if they start younger. So we are working with the CDCs to implement educational entrepreneurial programs for younger people in their communities. And one of the things is the Selling Bee. So we're going to be doing workshops. We're training their staff to do these workshops where low-income youth will come in. We'll teach them some basics about business, entrepreneurship, pitching, and when they walk out at the end of this half-a-day workshop, we will videotape their 30-second pitch, and it'll get entered into the competition, Selling Bee competition.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
So that little piece of, that flyer, your foundation money is paying for that,
Everything.
is that right?
Correct.
And these programs that you're talking about are integrated into the school day? Is this an outside program, or on the Saturdays or a Sunday?
It depends on the organization. So it really depends on the organization. So for example, I mentioned in a couple of weeks we've got Harvey High School in Painesville is bringing 13 kids on a field trip during the school day to a downtown office building where the kids are going to set up and sell. That's during the school day. Farmers markets on our Saturday. This program, some schools are integrating it. If I go back, let me go back. This, when I talked about the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, this is fully integrated into the school day in Cleveland. So it is part of the social studies curriculum. It's also getting incorporated into the math curriculum and in their STEAM program, their STEM program. It's part of, so that's another thing, by the way. We don't care how you do it. We want you to do it. If you want to do it in the school day, we'll support you. If you want to do it as an after-school program, we'll support you. Anybody and everybody who wants to do youth entrepreneurship.
And are there summer programs?
There's summer programs, absolutely. Yeah, we support summer programs. So like, for example, the Boy Scout entrepreneur badge I was talking about, that was focused on their Boy Scout camps, the regional Boy Scout camps where kids come for a week or 2 weeks to Boy Scout camp, and they work on badges. They work on the camping badge and this badge and that badge. One of the things they wanted to do is get more kids to do the entrepreneur badge during the summer Boy Scout camp. So I worked with the troop leaders and, again, the leverage model. Yeah. A couple other things I mentioned. So this logo, it's really hard to read. This is the Council of African American Organizations. It's an umbrella organization of professional African American groups. They also have a youth group associated with that. We are working with them. Here's a really interesting one, getting back to that whole funding piece. A lot of corporations, corporate foundations, there are lots of corporate foundations, lots of corporate foundation money available. Many of them, they are willing to give you money, but the other thing they're looking for is opportunities for their employees to volunteer. So they love programs where they can provide funding and provide opportunities for their employees to volunteer. So if I go back here, so Key Bank is a supporter of this program. As part of this, one of the challenges for kids doing a lemonade stand, it doesn't cost very much money to do a lemonade stand, right? 20, 30 bucks for the signage, for the lemonade, for the cups and everything. But we serve communities, we serve populations where 20, 30 bucks is a lot of money. They don't have 20, 30 bucks. Their parents will not give them 20 to 30 bucks. So what do? So we've innovated, we have loan boards where, funded by Key Bank, where loan officers, which are typically Key Bank employees, kids have to come with their business plan for their lemonade stand, and they pitch for 3 to 5 minutes. Their lemonade stand typically asking 30, 40 bucks. The loan officers deliberate and then loan them the money. we've had 99+ % repayment rate. So it's a loan. It's a no interest loan, but it's a loan. Nevertheless, the kids have to pay it back because in reality, in the real world, nobody just gives you money to start your business, right? It's a loan. So, so for Key Bank, it's great. So Nordson Corporation is a company based on the far west side of Cleveland. There's a very low-income community called Elyria on the far west side of Cleveland that Nordson is engaged in that community. So we are doing a program for Nordson employees. We'll go into these schools teaching these workshops around the selling bee, and they provide funding as well. So that's something to keep in mind, is if you can figure out programs where you can engage the corporation's employees, it's a huge competitive advantage when you're asking for funding. Yeah.
It's great. The partnerships, it sounds like with the CDCs and the Council of African American Organizations,
Yeah.
maybe you went out and sought opportunities to be involved in what they're doing. I don't know if the CMSD, the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, came to you looking for support, and then you also talked about Chagrin Falls, how they reached out to you. How much is it you guys reaching out, looking for ways to partner in the community versus people coming to you because of
That's a
your
great
own
question.
expertise?
That's a great question. So, so I've been doing this for 10 years. So at this point, we've developed a fair amount of visibility in Northeast Ohio. So KO, the Council of African American Organizations, they came to an event that I'll talk about in a minute, our Inspire event. And they had heard about it and said, wow, we want to bring this to our community. The CDC's, one of our funders, the Burton D. Morgan Foundation, is really making an effort to reach the lower income populations, and we're sort of partnering with them. You know, so for example, St. Clair Superior, they just got a 2-year, $100,000 grant from the Morgan Foundation to hire the people that we are going to train to implement the program. And that's often the case, where we partner with these foundations where people come to us and say, we want to do some youth entrepreneurship program. Or oftentimes they'll go to the Morgan Foundation, which is a foundation in Cleveland, and say, we want to do entrepreneurship, give us money. And the foundation will say, okay, we'll give you money, but you need to work with the Young Entrepreneur Institute. They don't pay for curriculum development anymore, for example. They say, there's so much curriculum out there. Work with them, they'll tailor something to you, they'll teach you how to do it. So it's this whole big collaboration thing.
Can you say that one more time?
What was it?
No, not all of it, but, so the foundation does,
So we're, again, all about collaboration.
Right.
So we partner with the foundation,
right,
where they provide funding to these organizations to hire staff to actually do the programming.
okay.
But the foundation doesn't have the expertise or the resources to teach them how to do it.
Right.
We have this depth of experience. We teach them, provide open source curriculum, programming, yeah.
Got it.
So, and so at this point, and actually in that video you saw Deb Hoover is president of the Burton D. Morgan Foundation. She and I have been partnering for years. Northeast Ohio by far has the most robust youth entrepreneurship ecosystem in the world. I mean, there's really nothing comparable to it because it is so now tightly leveraged and collaborative, everybody working together. So some of it is just people know about us at this point. Some of it is us reaching out. I mean, we are actively, like we went to Youngstown, for example. The city of Youngstown, a relatively economically depressed area, and searched for people to champion this. And also found a foundation, the Wien Foundation, who's willing to fund it, and applied to the Wien Foundation or collaborated with some local people in Youngstown, and then we're teaching the people in Youngstown how to do this. So that's kind of the model. Yeah. Again, it's all about leveraging, you know, that maximizes the impact of the foundation's money. Yeah.
So as far as university school goes, you live there and
I
they,
really do live
they
this.
gain, they gain from you because you're right there, but it allows you to do everything else that you're sharing with us.
Yes,
to
so
other
it's that whole idea of
communities.
platform, so they're a platform. The other great thing, so we just have a new headmaster, who I think buys into the same philosophy. Our prior headmaster, basically I built this program under his leadership, and he supported it. He understood that by University School providing all this and doing all this for the community, it positions University School as, number one, a leader in the community. People look to University School as a source for this, number one. Number two, it gives back. You know, the University School is such, like this place, such a privileged place, unbelievable resources, that it's a great opportunity to give back and really pays huge dividends. The other thing I will mention to all of you is that I'm guessing that your schools are like University School, is a huge percentage of the alumni donor base, the ones who give a lot of money to our school, are entrepreneurs. The other thing, so what's happened is, my office is essentially in the development offices. I'm in the advancement offices. I'm next to marketing and advancement. I work like this with alumni relations and the head of fundraising at University School, because alums love this. They love the idea of the school doing something active around entrepreneurship, and so they very proactively use it to raise funding for University School.
I was going to ask that anyway, but then are you a one-person operation? Do you have a staff that goes, there's so much legwork involved here going out to various...
So here's my team, I'll go because I'm running out of time. There's my team. This is Damon John. I don't know if you guys watch Shark Tank. So that's Damon John. He spoke at University School at a teacher event that we put on. But that's my team. Meg, Jesse, Mary, Eileen, Rika, and Nicole. We're all wearing their shirts at this event, Aspire. Inspire, Inspire, right? Yeah, so it's a team. So my salary, about a little less than half of my salary is paid by University School. The rest of my salary is paid by foundations. All those other people are paid by outside foundations. None of that funding. And actually, we're an entrepreneurial organization. I run it as an entrepreneurial organization. So we're a profit center. I bring in more money than we spend.
But they're still also based in the development office, or?
Yeah, we all have, I have
Everybody.
these couple little offices. Yes, we're all working together in that, yes.
Do they
All
teach at University School, or is it totally separate?
I'm the only one who teaches at University
Okay.
School. Yeah, I teach a couple classes.
Oh, okay.
I teach business classes. So I teach business classes at University School. So I pretty much live in University School, so I teach 3 classes and then I run this organization. So if I go back, I'm running out of time here. A couple other things that we do. So we talked about this. We also put on this event, Celebrate Youth, and this happening in Cleveland. And I brought some information. So this is a flyer about our organization. This is a postcard from last year's event. This is, so we do events. This event, Wednesday, April 13th, Andrew Yang is the speaker. Venture for America is like Teach for America, but for entrepreneurship. So kids, recent college grads are placed in startups for 2 years, just like Teach for America, except they're placed in startups, not in schools to teach. In the morning, he will speak to 400 high school students. In the afternoon, he'll speak to about the same number of middle school students. And in the evening, he'll speak to about 300 adults. The adult evening session will also have a young entrepreneur market. So we set up tables. So we'll have, again, we try to set up situations where there's lots of adults already. And so we have, right outside the auditorium after he speaks, we're going to have about 50 kids selling shit. And it is stuff, you know. The adults spend probably $6,000 that night. It's a real feeding frenzy. It's great for the kids. But it's free. We have funding to provide bus transportation to any school that wants to come to this event. The foundations pay for his speaker's fee. This is primarily focused on the kids. So like I said, we bring in 800 to 1,000 kids to hear the speaker, and then in the evening it's really a platform to have the young entrepreneur market. We also we have an organization very unique called the VO Youth Entrepreneurship Forum. This is funded by the VO Foundation. It's a group of 10 private schools in Northeast Ohio. So Hathaway Brown is one of them, Laurel is another, St. Ignatius, Magnificat, all kinds of schools. This picture was taken last week actually at a regional business plan competition. So these are a whole bunch of private schools that have come together. I helped actually put it together with Tinkenville and his partner to promote youth entrepreneurship in the private school space. So some of these schools had entrepreneurship programs going already, many of them did not. Each school gets $10,000 from the VO Foundation. We also get funding then to manage and organize this group. We do elevated pitch competitions. This is all the kids who attended our business plan competition last week. So each school does a business plan competition. The winner of that then competes in a regional business plan competition. And this is Cindy Bailey, the executive director of that foundation, and that's me. So that just happened. It happened in the Tinkenville Student Center at Case Western Reserve University. Then we also do lots of professional development for teachers. So Inspire 2015 was a conference that had Damon John from Shark Tank as our keynote speaker. We also had MIT has a high school entrepreneurship program that is available if you're interested. They're also doing a conference in a couple weeks. She spoke, if you're familiar with Kiva, the microloan organization, Jessica Jackley was here speaking. And then we had a couple of the kids who have been on Shark Tank, Mosiah and Michaela came and spoke. That was really a lot of fun. We had 300 and some teachers attend that event. Again, and that event actually, we charged $20 for the event. That included the dinner the night before and breakfast and lunch during the day. It included paying for this guy and everybody else. So it was heavily subsidized by foundations. So it was essentially free for the teachers. We wanted to have the barrier. We didn't want it to be like a typical conference where you're paying $300, $400, which a lot of times will prevent a lot of teachers from public schools to attend. On the other hand, we wanted to have some skin in the game, so the tickets weren't free, so it was $20. We're doing it again this November. So
Excuse me, were your attendees all the people in this area?
We had people from all over the country,
All over the
actually.
country.
So this is something, if any of you are interested, here's my business card. Please send me an email, put you on a database, and you'll absolutely get invited. We had people from Michigan, New York, Florida, all over. Cool. We had some people from Africa sign up. They didn't show up, but we did. Yeah, it's going to be a great event. So there's my team. I don't do it alone. Got a very hardworking team. And just so Jessie is the one who does Lemonade Day. She dresses in yellow every day. She's a real. And I will say that all of us really believe in youth entrepreneurship and the value of entrepreneurship education. So we've got a tremendous entrepreneurship education ecosystem in Northeast Ohio. These are some of the people we partner with. And these are our major funding partners that we work with. Like I said, it's we leverage what we have at University School. We leverage what we do. It's open source. We share everything with anybody. Collaborate and leverage.
How do you report back to these foundations?
Yeah, well, they require you to, yeah, so we absolutely report. We have numbers, you know, how many kids did we impact, how many teachers did we impact. Yes, I mean, we have to give them a budget, and so, yeah, there's whole reports that we can. And every foundation is a little bit different in what they ask for. Some are more formal than others. Also depends on the amount of money that's involved, and some of it's very targeted. So the Hudson Economic Development Corporation, HEDC, Hudson is a city in Northeast Ohio. Their money is exclusively for Hudson schools. So all the public schools and all the private schools in Hudson participate and are help. Some of its funding comes from HEDC. Yeah, any other questions?
You seem to be a lot of the energy for this program. Do you think you have things in place if all of a sudden
You get hit by a bus?
you get hit by a truck or something? Yeah.
Well, that's a great question. I do think about that because I'm retiring in a couple of years. I'm in my early 60s. But I do have a great team of people, and I'm actually right now I think I have somebody lined up who's gonna start teaching my classes for me. So yeah, I'm also trying to get the funding in place, so I hold the endowed chair in entrepreneurship at our school. So my job at university school at least is funded. It was originally the endowed chair for American civilization, but in talking to the alum who funded it, his original intention actually in the 80s was to fund something around business and entrepreneurship, but at the time the school, being a liberal arts college prep school, twisted it around into something around American civilization. When I came along and the person who had that chair left, he asked that it get moved to me, and we changed the name of it to the Endowed Chair of Entrepreneurship. So now there's an endowed chair there. One of the foundations has endowed the space that's my office permanently. So I have permanent space now. My job is endowed, and I'm trying to build an endowment specifically for it. So I'm trying to put the funding in place, put the team in place. Yeah, I've worked too hard to build this thing to have it fall apart after everything. So it's a good question. I do think about that a lot. Yeah, I encourage you to think about just starting an entrepreneurship program at your schools. The other thing about it is many of your parents, if you're a typical private school, I mean, our tuition is $30,000 a year. Many of the profile of our parents are essentially lawyers, doctors, and entrepreneurs. Those are the three categories for the most part. And the parents love this program, what we do. And again, very supportive of it. So, and it's to the point now where the school uses it as a marketing tool. When they're recruiting new families to the school, they use it as a recruiting. So it's paid lots of dividends to university school. And like I said, for the general ecosystem for the kids, it's been great. So, yeah, so I have business, my card if you want. I have postcards. This is from last year. So every other year at this event, Celebrate Youth Entrepreneurship, every other year we have a US alum. That's another thing I'm guessing amongst your parent and alumni community, you've got lots of great entrepreneurs. So I do a speaker series at our school. So give you an example of what the development office does. One of the challenges they have is they don't want every time they call an alum, make that call about asking for money. The best way to get somebody to donate money is to engage them in the life of the school, engage them with the kids. So I bring in 30 to 40 alums and parents every year to the school as volunteers. Some of them just speakers. They parachute in at lunchtime. They speak for an hour. They love it. Gets them excited about the school. And so the development office and alumni office will come to me and say, hey, we're courting so-and-so, would you call him and have him be a judge for your competition, or have him come in and speak, get him excited about the school, and I'm happy to do that. So my office is literally across the hall from the assistant headmaster responsible for development for the school, and we have a very close relationship, very strategic relationship. So the school's been very strategic about using what I do to support what they do.
Thanks, I'm gonna go set another panel.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
sure,
you.
sure. And please, use me, abuse me. My salary is paid for to help, and I help actually organizations all over the world now. at this point.
Well, you're probably going to hear from us. Well, thank you so
Sure,
much.
sure.
And I love that came from your career. So that's not getting a roll over.
Well, that's a huge
That's a
difference.
beautiful part.
That is actually the biggest problem I have. The biggest problem I have in terms of making it work successfully in schools is oftentimes the people teaching it or doing it have no experience in the world. Well, schools are the real world. That's not fair, but the real world. And so when they're talking, when I talk about cash flow, it's a visceral thing for me, a meeting payroll and all that kind of stuff. And obviously I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship, and if you're just teaching, sometimes it's economics, teaches economics, it does this.
Real life problem solving can happen through, from it.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed this, and it's
Oh, good.
gonna be very good for me to do.
Yeah, absolutely, please have fun.
Thank you so much.
Sure, no problem, yeah.
That was fascinating. So I'm in any content.
Oh my God, sorry, I'm just insulting you.
No, it's fine, it's totally fine. So, this was great, because I actually kind of informed you.
Yeah, you're welcome, yeah, please, take my card, take the information. Yeah, sure.
I actually formally do, I work on, for a year, probably, in my class, I talk about everything. The finance, entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
I run, some days, the Wall Street stock.
oh yeah, I do that, I hate that game. It's day trading, it's just day trading.
Well,
But
if
you
you
know-
do, if you do it over a long enough period of time,
But you know what we do, actually, I should have mentioned this, working with the finance director, we actually have a very select group of kids manage some of the endowment.
I try to make that person. And then also, I actually teach courses at summer courses.
My hands are gone off.
Okay.
Goes off at 11.
We're all doing.
You're done, right?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.